Hello everyone and welcome back to the Beatles Forever. I was online recently and I saw an article about Paul McCartney getting back his bass guitar, and his bass guitar had been stolen 50 years ago, over 50 years ago. The bass was a backup for McCartney in 1963, but he continued to play it for the rest of the time that he had it in his possession, which was until 1969. So I wanted to find out all I could about this story, and it's great news that Paul got reunited with his bass after so many years. So 51 years ago, Paul McCartney's bass was stolen from him in London. It was first purchased by McCartney in Hamburg, Germany in 1961. It is a 1961 Hofner 500/1 bass guitar. So Paul had played the songs Love Me Do, Twist and Shout, and She Loves You, and many other songs on it. And in an article in 1966, Paul said, I have had a Hofner ever since I started. I've got 3 models, but the ancient one is still my favorite. And the ancient one is the first one he bought. And he said it was his prized possession. How was it stolen? Well, the last time the bass was seen was in 1969 during the filming of the documentary Let It Be. Well, there was 2 theories that were running through before they finally figured out the right one. The first was that the bass was either stolen from Abbey Road or from the Apple Records offices on Savile Row. Another theory that it was stolen from the back of a van. So Voss, who worked for Hofner, said, I corresponded with someone who worked for Apple at HQ during the early 1970s, and he wrote that there was definitely Beatles gear in the basement. The situation at Apple was totally chaotic, with many people, some unknown, coming and going daily. Voss said it was like a continuous 24-hour party at times, and he knew that one or more of George Harrison's guitars had gone missing from the basement. So did the 1961 bass also disappear from here? And according to People magazine, the news came several months after a team of fans launched the Lost Bass Project. It was an attempt to track down the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer's 1961 Hofner, which had been called one of the most important bass in history, and it was lost sometime after 1969. And the group of Beatle fans that formed the group was led by Hofner GmbH marketing manager Nick Wass, former BBC journalist Scott Jones, and television producer Naomi Jones. People magazine said, Paul said to Hofner, surely if anyone can find this guitar, it's you guys, and that's how it all came about. The reporter explained, and now we're working together on this. So the reporter Jones said Nick had more technical knowledge about the guitar than anyone on the planet, and he and his wife were bringing in the investigative skills. And he was with his wife in 2022, and he started wondering about the instrument that Paul McCartney was playing. Scott and his wife, being investigative reporters, got in touch with Nick Wass, a McCartney collaborator who had worked at Hofner and had launched the project to see if they could help. And Jones said Wass is absolutely the world's expert on violin Hofner basses, and he's an expert on Paul's bass. At first there weren't many leads, and then Scott published an article for the Sunday Telegraph in early September 2023. More than 600 people contacted the Lost Bass Project offering help. There were 100 leads and suggestions, including information that the bass had been stolen from the back of a van in the Notting Hill area of London one October night in 1972. This was the breakthrough we needed, the project said on its website. They were able to identify the thief, whom they had not named, in keeping with the project's promise not to identify anyone involved, and discovered the individual had sold it to a pub landlord, Ronald Guest, for a couple of quid and a free beer. According to the reporter Scott, the bass was only 10 miles away from Paul's house, so that is remarkable. When the search was getting more announced, the family turned it in. The reporter got a phone call and someone saying, Hey, Nick, we got the bass, we found it, it's been handed in. The reporter Scott was thinking, who's this idiot? And then he found out he was talking to Paul McCartney. So it come to find out the instrument had been passed down through the Guest family. A resident in southern England then contacted McCartney's company to return the instrument. Hofner then authenticated the bass guitar and said it was McCartney's. The Lost Bass Project said the guitar was in one piece, still had its original case. It had some damage, but it can be repaired and made playable again. The reporter Jones said that finding out the instrument was confirmed to be genuine was an incredible moment. And he's been told that McCartney's thrilled to have the instrument back. I bet he was, and he believes it's an important discovery for fans of all ages, too. That sense of thrill and excitement is there for all Beatle fans to enjoy in their own way. So the reason they started looking for the bass was because they felt that Paul McCartney had given the fans so much through the years they wanted to give back to him. And they felt that Beatles supporters could band together and find out where it went to. I found out more to that story from ITV News. They said a mum of two from East Sussex said she panicked when she found Sir Paul McCartney's missing guitar in her attic for 28 years. Kathy Guest found it in her house in Hastings. She was looking to sell her late husband's collection of guitars to help her two kids get through college. She started to catalog the guitars he had, and when she Googled the bass, it came up. Kathy Guest had been a carer for 18 years, and she said he was delighted that Paul got it back. We love our live music. We love gigs. That's our family's hobby. He's happy, and we can get on with our lives now and let it be. Someone asked her if she was a Beatles fan, and she said she was more of a Jam fan. Sorry. She said, though, but everyone loves the Beatles. You can't not love the Beatles. Mrs. Guest said the credit goes to the Lost Bass Project. The article mentioned that the bass was allegedly sold to a landlord in the area before it was passed on and ended up in the attic of a terraced house on the south coast of England. Mrs. Guest said that's why it's taken a long time, because the true story needs to be told. There's a lot to it. So I was expecting to see more of the story, but I scrolled the rest of the article and there wasn't any more detail, so that was disappointing. Just when I thought I couldn't find any more information, I discovered this. In a news article, Kathy Guest said that the old bass that had been in her attic for years looked like the one that they were looking for. It had been passed from Ron Guest to his oldest son, who died in a car wreck, and then to a younger son, Hayden Guest, who was married to Kathy and died in 2020. The instrument was returned to McCartney in December, and then it took 2 months to authenticate it. Had planned to announce the news, but were upstaged by Kathy's son, Rodri Guest, a 21-year-old film student, who posted photos Tuesday of the guitar on X, formerly Twitter, and wrote, "I inherited this item, which has been returned to Paul McCartney. Share the news." He posted a message saying that the family had been inundated with interview requests and would tell its story eventually. So that's why she didn't add anything more. She was probably going to get paid to tell her side of the story to a reporter. And the reporter, Scott Jones, said the thief couldn't sell it. Clearly the Guest family never tried to sell it. It was a red alert, because the minute you come forward, someone's going to go, that's Paul McCartney's guitar. But I'm so glad that Paul got his bass back. He got it while he was in Hamburg, Germany in the early days of the Beatles, and the bass was always his favorite one. I'm sure being reunited with it brought back so many wonderful memories. This video was fun to make, and it was a fascinating story. If only the bass could talk, it would have quite a tale to tell. And I hope everybody enjoyed the video. And if you did, if you could give it a thumbs up, it would be greatly appreciated. I wish everyone a good day, and tune in again soon for another episode of the Beatles Forever. Thank you. Bye.